Welcome to everybody. Welcome to this webinar organized by EUPRERA, the European Association of Public Relation, Education and Research Association. So thank you so much for being here. I am Stefania Romenti and I am the director of the association. Just a few words before introducing our speakers. First of all, I would invite you to visit our website because we have other webinars in the next weeks. I think that could be interesting for you and for instance, next week on Thursday, 19th of November, the webinar will be dedicated to a research project about coronavirus communication and the effectiveness of governmental communication the effectiveness of communication and health communication about coronavirus. And then in December, the 9th of December, we will have another webinar on web public affairs and advocacy. So please visit the website, look at the webinars and register to them. Then I want just to invite you at the end of the webinar to answer to the questionnaire. It is a very short questionnaire, just 2 questions but they are very important because we need your feedback about the quality and satisfaction with this presentation and this webinar. So please spend just 30 seconds because we need your feedback about this presentation. We have a presentation, we have 2 speakers, and we will leave just 10 minutes at the end of this presentation just to share your questions. So if you wanted to write down your questions in the chat, I can then read these questions and pose them to the speakers, or you can at the end of the presentation switch on your microphones and just ask the questions directly as you want. I'm here just as a support of the speakers. So thank you so much to everybody. And now I wanted to introduce the 2 speakers, Juan Carlos Molelda and Marco Hererra, and they will start a presentation about the fresh data about Latin American Communication Monitor. So thank you for your attention. I leave you the stage.
Thank you, Stefania, and good morning to everyone.
Good morning, everyone. I am in Oregon. It's 5 o'clock in the morning for me. So I had a good cup of coffee and a good shower. So ready for this. Thank you so much for attending this webinar. This is the 4th edition of the Latin American Communication Monitor. What is important about this edition is that for the first time, we are reporting observations for 20 countries in the subcontinent. This is the major study of this kind in Latin America, and we are really proud. And I want to, before I talk a little bit about the demographics, let me explain to you how these work. We have a really impressive team of researchers and advisors throughout Latin America. This is a great undertaking because we don't have really a lot of databases in the continent. Associations, they participate, and universities, but it's every time we do this type of research, we need to keep on collecting, updating information from professionals throughout the region. Also, what is important this time is that we are also including large corporations and also public companies in this study. And how you will see later, the sample, the participation really represents many different types of organizations and professionals. So the main group that is able to put this together is Marco Herrera, of course, that is here with me representing the beautiful country of Mexico, and also one of the largest in the continent. And the second largest country is Argentina, and is represented by Alejandro Alvarez Nobel. And of course, our dear Angeles Moreno, always support the team from Spain and from EUPRERA. In addition to that, we have Andrea Odeia Ataides from Brazil, which is, again, is the largest country, I may say. So between Argentina, Brazil, and Mexico are the three core countries in the continent, in the subcontinent. And then we also have Ana Maria Suarez in Colombia. In addition to that, the Center for Advanced Studies at the Universidad Nacional de Córdoba, Argentina, Ezequiel Ducart, is helping us with all the database statistics and graphs and analysis. We also have an advising council, and I will mention them from Argentina, Adriana Amado Suarez, from Mexico, Rebecca Arevalo Martinez, from Ecuador, Octavio Islas, from Brazil, Margarita Conchi, from Argentina, now the United Kingdom, Gabriel Sadi, and from Peru, Maria Solórzano. So let's go to the demographics. Marco, the next slide.
Yes.
So as I said, we have representation of 20 Latin American countries in 3 regions. The region that is that have more representation, and because of the size of the region, is South America with 1,100 participants. I want also to say that this year we have the most participants. Last time, 2 years ago, we have 1,100, and now we have 1,600. In Central America, we have 19% of participation, and North America, that is mainly Mexico, is 11% of participation. Next slide. In terms of backgrounds of participants, if you see in terms of positions, it's kind of evenly represented in terms of head of communications, agency CEOs, 27%, unit leaders and team leaders, 34%, and team members, consultants, 39%. So it's a good representation of different positions. And I will say it's a really good representation of organizations. I think the largest representation is agencies and consultancies with 26%, followed by private company with 21%. But also we have freelancers, 18%, public companies, 9%, and non-for-profit organizations, 8%. In terms of experiences, more than half of the participants, they have more than 10 years of experience. So we have a really good group of people. Also, we have individuals with up to 5 years of experience, 24%. In terms of alignment of the communication function, and this is important because this alignment of the communication function is very closely related to the construct of excellent departments that we will see later on in the presentation. But 65% feel that they are aligned with the communication function is aligned with the business function. And 19% is strongly aligned. Still, 16% is not aligned or weakly aligned. Next, Marco. In terms of gender, membership, and degrees, in terms of gender, we have a significant representation of female participants. We have 67% of female participants, which is not surprising. You know, the profession is heavily oriented to female professionals. And the age of these participants, the average age is 39%. If we go through the head of communications and agencies, for the average participation, the average age of the participants is 42 years old, unit leaders is 40 years old, and team member consultant 34 years old, which makes completely sense in terms of seniority. In terms of head of communication and agencies, which is also a good sign, females are 64% and leaders 68% and 69% consultants. In terms of membership of professional associations, and this is important, only half of professionals who participated in the Latin American Communication Monitor belong to a national association. And we can say that over the years, the national associations are weaker and weaker. They are not stronger, and they really represent probably a portion of the profession in several nations. In some countries, associations are stronger than others. 17% of participants belong to an international organization, and 26% of participants belong to other types of associations. What is really uplifting in this data is the fact that most participants, they have university education. Between bachelor's and master's is 93%, which is really high. So even 4% have a PhD or doctorate, and only 3% have no academic degree. And I don't have this data here, but I'm pretty sure there is a correlation between age and no academic degree. So the oldest the participant, probably the likelihood that the participant didn't go through university. But again, I don't have the information here to be able to confirm this. So let's go to the first item of the content of the survey, and I will leave you with Marco Herrera, who is going to introduce you these sections.
Thank you, Juan Carlos, and good afternoon and good morning. Good afternoon, Europe. Good morning, America. I would like to share and start our journey sharing with you the situation of the ethical challenge that our communicators are facing in the region. And as you can see, the 71% of practitioners facing several or at least one ethical challenge in the day-to-day work. The countries that report major ethical challenge, as you can see, is Brazil, Peru, Salvador, and but we have a second block where we can find Mexico, Panama, Venezuela, and Costa Rica. I consider it, and we have seen in the past, this has a direct relation with the development of business in each of the countries and the trends of the digital development and business growth and the technological advances in the media platforms. This is related to that. And we also found that the resource preferred by the professionals to deal with the ethical challenge are personal values and ethical guideline of the companies above the ethical guidelines association. As Juan Carlos said, the associations is more weak every day. And I remember that before the ethical guidelines of the compliance program in the companies arrive as an obligation, is usually that a PR and communication association was the first concern about ethics codes of each country. And in the associations, we bring the international codes, guideline codes to apply into their agencies or into the communications department. Right now, all the companies are following the ethical codes of the companies as the compliance departments and the compliance rules set. And finally, in the region, the companies that are listed in the stock market are those that are more concerned and taking care about the ethical aspects. And the largest preoccupation in these issues related to the brand is related to the brand, the products, and the marketing actions. Followed in the second place for the coordination of issues and strategy with the companies. Other ethical concerns and the major concerns of communication in our region is about usage of bots to generate feedback and followers in social networks with the 59%. The exploitation of personal data and audiences applied by data statistics is 54%, and paying social media influence to communicate favorably, it's 47%. I think we all want to have organic growth. That's the main objective of the communication, but the pressure to have a business result make us face the dilemma of usage or not of the technology. And let me finish this first block with a joke. We as a communicators are haunted by Cambridge Analytica like a ghost in our daily nightmares to get results. Yesterday, I was watching in Netflix the documental of Cambridge Analytica that I recommend you to see it. It's very interesting, but it's our nightmare. In our next block, you can see that we have let me put it this, oops, sorry about that, okay. We find that the 75% of communicators recognize that the issue of cybersecurity is relevant to the daily work. Likewise, 39% of the participants recognize that they have or they were victims of cyber attacks. Let me tell you that Mexico is the country with the highest percentage of the mentions in the study, and this is aligned with the fact that Mexico is one of the major country with the highest number of cyber attacks in the world, and is related with that. For practitioners in the region, the greatest concern is receiving cyber attacks online and in their platforms. And the most of the time the practitioners spend on cybersecurity is first managing both international and external crises. And secondly, as a result of the cyber attacks, the communicators have to discuss the issue of cybersecurity with employees and through communication internal systems. This situation not allowed to them to generate education and resilience on the subject. It's more time spending in the crisis management and to solve all the problems than create education for the future. And again, companies that are listed in the stock market are the most affected by this phenomenon, and those who are facing the greatest volume of crisis communication in the region. The next block is about promoting the gender equality. We can find in our region, the communication and public relations industry is where greatest number of women participate. Unfortunately, only the 50% manager they have a leadership position. In nonprofit organization is where we can find the greatest leaders of women, followed by consultant agencies, where the panorama is more complex for gender equity is in the public or government companies. In the next slide. But the good news among the practitioners is, as you can see in the chart, the gender equity is in all countries has heavily improved over the past in the last 5 years. To finish this topic, let me give a personal opinion of the subject. I firmly believe that the situation that we are living of COVID-19 and the home office that we are practicing, this point, I think there's going to change radically the benefit of the female practitioners, and is going to help the gender equity. The next block is about the strategic issues and communications channel. In the following graphic, we can see which are the main strategic topics. And in the first place, we find copying the digital evolution. And in the second is the use of big data algorithms for content creation. Throughout 3 previous slides, we have seen the evolution of these themes. And I remember that in the first version of the study, one of the main concerns was dealing the speed of information, for example. And today, we have it in the 4th place. Personally, I believe that the theme and the issue of the digital evolution will remain for some time, depending of the new process of the digitalization that we are facing right now with the pandemic and the digitalization that it's pushed by the situation right now. Regarding the communication channels in our region, practitioners see the future more focused on the mobile communication and in the non-verbal communications that is related with appearance and architecture. Sorry. Okay. One other thing is that to finish this block, it's important to see the traditional media, such as TV and radio and print. The communicators and the practitioners said that it's going to be lower the panorama of these channels, but this despite the fact that the region, the traditional media still maintain an importance in front of their audiences. It's a challenge to face with in the future. In the next block, we can see the 80% of the interviews agree with the necessary to develop the competencies. As you can see, the 84%, and the competencies that the practitioners said they are more important is communication skills, strategic management, and in the 3rd place, they need to learn about business management. That's the most important competencies that they wanted to learn and they need to learn. And finally, Juan Carlos, if you want to explain a little bit about the excellent communications.
Yes, Marco, thank you so much. Could you pass to the next slide?
Yep.
So the identification of communication, the excellence in communication departments is a construct that has 2 major concepts. One of influence, and which is more internal, and the second one about performance, which is more external, even though, as we know, the public relations and communication management function also have internal communication, employee relations type of practices. In terms of influence, we have 2 subcomponents, which is advisory influence and executive influence. In terms of advisory influence is the possibility for the communication manager to offer advice to top executives, and they take that advice seriously. And in terms of executive influence is also the possibility to have access to the decision-making table, and the table where important discussions are happening. So in terms of performance, it's about success and competence. Success is is to really accomplish goals through strategies and tactics. And in terms of competence is the ability to be able to do their jobs in a very effective way. So the results are not very encouraging. Marco, next slide. Only 23% of departments or participants said that their departments are considered excellent. According to the rating of the 4 different dimensions: competence, success, executive influence, and advisory influence. And if we combine the last 2 highest rankings in the scale, which is in this case the light red and the red, we see that in terms of executive influence is the dimension that was rated the highest, followed by advisory influence. So very interesting that in terms of influence, the ratings are higher than in terms of competence and success. So probably there is an opportunity for universities and associations to offer more training and continuous improvement for professionals throughout the region. And also probably in terms of confidence, you know, to be sure that they are empowered to do their work and to show results. And success also is related to the way we can also show results through evidence. And this is one of the challenges we face in the region and in many places in the world in terms of measurement and evaluation. I want to finish by highlighting some conclusions of our research this year, and then open the room for questions and answers. I think it's going to be more beneficial for everyone to be part of a conversation with us. But for the first time in this year, Puerto Rico and Cuba joined this analysis. And for the first time, we report analysis of 20 countries, and you will gain access to all the results, which here is just a few highlights. As I said, we grew from 1,100 participants to 1,600 participants, even in the context of the pandemic. And perhaps because of the pandemic, probably professionals have more time to answer the questionnaire. And also, it's important that we have a representation of different positions, you know, experiences, type of organizations. So it's a very complete representation of the different levels of the practice in the region. Also, we grew the participation of large companies, especially publicly traded companies and freelancers. The top topics of the concern, which is globally, is cybersecurity. I saw a question that I will answer soon from Marcela. Then the situation of women in terms of, you know, we have more women professionals throughout the region, but they still need access to top positions and leading positions in agencies and corporations. There are some ethical challenges, new competences because of COVID-19, especially in communication management. In terms of demographics, as I said, 4 out of 3 respondents are more, you know, there are more women than men, is 60% or more. One of the key issues is that we need to keep on talking about gender inequality and representation in our fields. Something that I want to also share with you is that the importance of this research is that we use the results to have really good conversations with associations and corporations throughout the region. I think this has been the most impressive impact of the Latin American Communication Monitor. For instance, Marco and I, we did a presentation last year in Mexico City. And before that, I did the presentation in Tijuana at a university with participation both of students and professionals. So the important is that we are having those conversations. We are using these specific items in the survey and the results. And more than the results, the items and the implications of those items, to have really serious discussions with the profession and to have serious discussions with the students. And hopefully we are, in a way, influencing the way public relations and communication management is taught throughout the region. In terms of, again, ethical challenges and resources, 2 out of 3 communication professionals, they face ethical challenges in their daily work. What is interesting is that they use more the guidelines of their, ethical guidelines or codes from their organization, 88%, more than, and also their personal values, which is 89%. They reported only 79% use of association codes or guidelines, which is not bad in reality, but we can see more influence of their own personal values and their organizations. In terms of cybersecurity, and in fact, I will answer the question. We have a question here from Marcela. She said, Marcela Fares, she said, it is surprising for me the average of 75% of the fear of cyber attacks, while 61% have never faced one. How does this explain the number? So the numbers are explained because when you ask the question that if they fear cyber attacks, and 75% say yes, but not necessarily everyone that says that they fear cyber attack, they have faced a cyber attack. And in fact, it's not 61%, but I think it's about 40% only. But this is the reality. I think these type of topics, they are spread through the media and through trade organizations, and also through the conversations in organizations in terms of what is important for them to pay attention to. So definitely it's a concern. It's happening more and more. And I think this is a topic that is going to continue, because the cyber attacks and the data breaches are really impacting the world, and that's also a preoccupation in that region. In terms of strategic issues and communication channels, most important, a strategic topic for communication management until 2023 is no surprise for anyone, is coping with the digital evolution and the social web, using big data and algorithms in communication, and exploring new ways of creating and distributing content. And I think, new platforms are coming up, and then communication professionals feel the challenge of learning those platforms and learning behavior of audiences using those platforms. And also, mobile communication is advancing rapidly, and I think in the region, mobile communication is used greatly, and not surprising, media relations are in recession. Also, the perceived importance of adding stakeholders, gatekeepers, and audiences, they are increasing in importance and influence from 2020 to 2023. So in terms of competency development for communication professionals, 4 out of 5 professionals in Latin America believe in the need of constant improvement. And again, one not so good information is that only 23% of departments are considered excellent. And so there is an opportunity here to be able to continue supporting professionals in terms of empowering them in these 2 major dimensions of influence and competence. Alejandro,
Yes.
If
You
the
see
results, yeah, if your opinion, the results of this study could be altered by the COVID situation, I think COVID is affecting every sector of society. So definitely it's affecting the communication sector as well. And we don't know, you know, the lasting effects of COVID-19, but definitely, yes, I will say yes, and will be interesting to compare the results of this year with the results in, you know, 2 years from now, when hopefully we are going to have a different world in front of us. Marcela says, thank you very much, Juan Carlos. I am from Argentina. Sorry, I didn't say congratulations for the job. Thank you, Marcela. Estefania, I don't know if you have more questions, or
Yes.
Marco, would you like to? Okay.
Yes, there is a question by Belen from Spain. She congratulates for the job. And how important are visa studies in the region?
Okay. Say that again, please.
How important are visa studies in the region? She said.
Marco, would you like to answer that question?
The studies or these studies?
The studies. Yes, visa studies, as she says. How important are visa studies in the region? Yes. I don't know if Belen can switch on the microphone and can pose
Explain
the
just,
questions in a more, yes, explain more the question.
It's most, yes, because if it is about the study or about the studies, the people who study go to the universities.
Well, if probably Belen can write something up in the chat room,
yes.
But let me start by saying that from an academic perspective, and Marco may want to talk about from a professional perspective. From an academic perspective, I am so grateful that Latin America is present in the Global Communication Monitor. I think it is important for us to engage in the conversation worldwide. My colleagues and I, we have gone through academic and professional conferences to talk about these results and to talk about the region, and that's an improvement because the region is part of the communication and public relations profession, and we have outstanding professionals and organizations that are doing an excellent job in internal and external communication. So from the academic point of view, I think it's important the documentation, it's important the participation, that the comparison, for instance, that we can achieve with these studies, comparing our information, our data with data collected in Europe or Asia or North America. So in that sense, I think it is really relevant, and also is important, as I explained before, the opportunity to go through the regions and have meetings with professionals and students and talk about, because the report also contains a lot of literature references, work that other scholars have done that explain the construction of the survey and also the results that we present. So I think all in all, it's very beneficial. Marco?
From the point of view of professional, Juan Carlos, we need to say that right now, it's very important that people have studies about communications in the way that they want to work in a communications department. I remember that 10 years ago, you find in the communications department any kind of persons without knowledge of communications, because they think that the work in the communications departments are very easy. Right now, the people understand, the professionals, the practitioners, and also the companies understand that it's very important to the people who work in the communications department have the right studies, have the right skills, because the communication becomes to be a very complicated issue into the companies, and the companies need professionals. That's why the studies and the people who want to work in the communication areas in the companies, it's very important to prepare themselves with the right studies.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes. I agree with that. So we have time for some questions. If participants want to write down them, we are here.
Meanwhile, let me tell you for finish and complete the topic that as Juan Carlos said, that is this study, Latin American Communications Monitor, is helping to the people to understand the value of the practitioner and the profession. Throughout the 4 editions, we are understanding and we are seeing that right now the companies they understand the value of a communication and the practice of the communication, and with the people studying and prepare themselves, and we see in the numbers that is very important. The people are studying PhD or master degrees about communication because they need more professional skills and for doing the job. And the importance of the study is this study is giving information and give the information of how is managed the communications in the region, and they can compare how is the practice in the different countries. And I think this is a very important tool to help the professionals to understand how manage the communication in the different countries to improve their manage. And also because the largest companies are globalized companies, and they are doing jobs or they are doing tasks for communication, not for only one country. They are doing for several countries because we have a headquarters in the region that manage the communication in all the region, not only in one country. And that's important because the communicators are doing communication not only for the country or for the region, even for worldwide, for the worldwide perspective.
Okay. If I can just share my reflection, I am involved in the European Communication Monitor since I am in Italy, and I was just struck by one result, the result about trust. Because in Italy, for instance, but also in Europe, the development and the maintenance of trust was among the top issues for communicators. I have seen in the in your monitor, the Latin Communication Monitor, just 23% of respondents said that trust is not a big issue. So just some opinions about that. What do you think about that?
This is very important, Stefania, because when I compare that point, this had to be related because right now in Europe, they are more advanced in the business way. Yes, they are in a different stage. They are more mature business situation. Yes, and has to be and is related because the different business growth of the regions. Yes, right now, let me tell you about. You have a mature compliance matter in all the companies in Europe. In the region, okay, we are 5 years delay about that, and that's why we have a different concerns about the communications because when you make this comparison, we are copying the digital evolution as a first concern, and in Europe, the first one is maintain trust, right? Because we are dealing with different situation of the business.
Mm-hmm.
That's why we understand that with the study.
You know,
Yes.
that's a big difference, right?
I have a different interpretation. I think
Okay.
it's also it's cultural. You know, in Latin America, we are a collective society. So even though we face challenges of trust, because that's not a question. You know, organizations, institutions, politicians, you know, managers, everyone is facing this lack of trust or challenging in trust levels, and we see the Edelman trust barometer. You know, also Latin America it has a deficit in trust. But I think we are talking about participants who are answering a survey, and in general, we are more optimistic despite of the challenges we face in certain topics. Because when I go through Latin America, despite the challenges we face, we are resilient. We believe that we can really work things out, you know, within and outside the organization. We can face crisis situation. We can face issues of community relations or other type of stakeholder relations. But in reality, we have a kind of a solidarity type of orientation in terms of helping each other within organizations, and probably believing that trust is not the most important aspect, but the technical components. You know, everyone is more engaged in how to use digital communication to be able to develop relationship with audiences and to convey content from organizations in an effective way. But again, I think it's a lot of, you know, I agree with Marco in terms of, you know, the issues of compliance and the issues of how the business sector is more developed, you know, in other continents than in Latin America in general. But I think it's also about confidence in human relationships that Latin American individuals have because of being a heavily collectivistic society.
Yeah, okay. It's very interesting because I mean, it was when you are talking about it, I was thinking of the Italian culture, which is very probably, Italian culture, for instance, in the south of Europe, it is more more similar to Latin, to Latin culture. Yes, but also in the Italy, for instance, for professionals, the trust remain the main topic. So it's very interesting to interpret this data and to see, for instance, in Italy, we are talking about authenticity, authentic communication. To be perceived as authentic is the main issue at the moment for strategic communicators. So that's really interesting to discuss about this. Yeah.
Stefania, have you seen a difference between Southern Italy and Northern Italy in terms of how professionals answer those questions?
That's another question. That's another question. So the south of Italy is much more similar to Latin America.
Exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. Absolutely.
Well, the other point is, and it's about the second point that deal with the sustainability of social responsibility that the Europe has.
Yeah, yeah.
And I think this is going to, one of the things that is going to change with the pandemic situation, because all the people and all the consumers are going to check, and they are going to seek more sustainability and social responsibility. And right now we have that in the 5th or 6th place, and I think this is going to change a lot, because all the company they are taking care more about the responsibility and sustainability, right?
Absolutely. It is one of the major issue at the moment. And the issue is about communication. So I think that for communication of sustainability, there is, at the moment, it's a very big challenge, but there is also a huge, a huge array of opportunities for communicators, because communication of sustainability is very, very delicate, and so many companies are involved in sustainability practices and sustainability activities, but most of the time they neglect the communication and they don't know the principles to be effective in communicating sustainability. So I think that it is very, very important for, and above all for some countries.
Yes, and right now with the pandemic, as we can see in all the different companies, this is going to be the top importance, because it's the only way that they can show that they concern about all these topics, and they are good companies for the consumer. We need to understand that the consumer is changing their behaviors, and one of the in the top of the list is that they are going to check if the companies are responsible and they have a sustainability practice. This is going to be the major topic, and that the communicators, we need to understand how to communicate this in the right way, because we are seeing some examples that if the people or if the companies are joking about that, they have a big problem with the consumers if they don't communicate in the right way.
Yes, yes, absolutely. Okay, I don't see further questions. So
I have a comment for future research. I'm receiving a message from Ana Maria Suarez from Colombia, is a member of the research team. And she said that, yes, she agrees that the crisis of trust is generalized in the world. But something that we need to pay attention in Latin America is the conditions of post-colonialism, because in Latin America, something that the post-colonial perspective is very intense. We want to have certain control over the destiny of business and over the destiny of our societies. And also, I think in the future, we should be focusing our research more on the contributions organizations and communicators make to society, to the formation of a civic society, a citizenry, and also how we can really talk about rights and responsibilities of citizens in societies that are very complex and facing great challenges. So I think that this post-colonial perspective also provides some empowerment to professionals also to detach themselves from the larger world and focusing more on the realities of the region.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much to everybody. I think that I don't see further questions, so I think that we can close this webinar. Very effective, very efficient, also in time, in timing, and okay. So thank you so much to our speakers on the behalf of also of our association, EUPRERA Association, and congratulations for your job.
Thank you so much, Stephanie, and thank you to EUPRERA and to the participants, and look forward to seeing all of you in person one day soon.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Stephanie, and thanks to EUPRERA.
Okay. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.